New York. It is media day for the Nets and for the Knicks, also the Pelicans. We're going to get to them a little bit later. But players and coaches, they spoke this morning ahead of training camp. Here's what new head coach Mike Brown had to say about coaching his new star point guard. Take a listen.
You know, he seems like he's a versatile player, and the biggest thing that I want to do for him is try to get him, as well as everybody else, easy shots. And one of the easiest shots in the game of basketball is a spray three. I'm a big proponent of touching the paint and spraying that basketball for a catch and shoot three. And so within what we do, we're going to try to get him a lot of those.
Obviously, everyone being new to this is going to take some time, but very excited to get to learn more and understand his philosophies and his concepts. And I think once we get started, we're going to get off to the right path.
I'm excited for this team. You know, we have great depth that gives us a chance to feel good about any part of the season, whatever the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs that go on, that we have a team that's fully ready to go regardless of the situation.
All right, a whole lot to dive in there. Shams Charania, Brian Windhorst, and Kendrick Perkins, of course, joining me as well. Our front office insider, Bobby Marks, he will be by in just a minute. Brian, there's a lot there. The Knicks diving straight into the X's and O's of the season. What was your biggest takeaway? What do you think fans should know after listening to the Knicks today?
Well, Malika, I am very fluent in training camp speak, so let me translate this for all of our viewers. The Knicks are planning on making a very long playoff run, and so they want to begin September and October thinking about May and June. They don't want to say it like that, but they know that Jalen Brunson has one of the biggest workloads in the NBA. He actually was 17th in minutes last year, but he led the league in dribbles. You know what that means? It means that he did a lot of work in his time, and frankly, the idea of playing him less minutes than that is not likely, especially when he's the clutch player of the year and your team is built largely around him finishing games. So from October onward, they know they're not going to be able to play him less, but they want to stress him out less over the course of the next 6 months. Whether or not they actually follow through with it, we'll wait and see. But that's what the plan that Mike Brown and Jalen Brunson are essentially talking about.
Well, if they plan on playing in June, I definitely don't want to hear about they sweet nothings about the offensive end. That's not the problem. I want to hear about defense. If you're going to play in the June, you got to be able to defend, and it starts with your two stars. And right now I'm looking at Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns on what they did last year, smothered chicken, oxtails, and sweet potato pie. That's how sweet they are defensively. You look at Karl Anthony Towns and you look at some numbers right here. He ranked 43rd out of 50 qualified players in field goal percentage allowed. He was getting scored on 60% of the time. If the Knicks are going to take that leap, getting to the NBA Finals, trying to win a championship, it's going to be because of Karl Anthony Towns and his ability to be able to anchor the defense. We know that he's one of the most skilled bigs to play offensively of all time. One of the best, if not best, shooting big to play the game of basketball. But defense wins championships, and that's what I want to hear from now to this start, going into training camp, all the way throughout the course of the season when Mike Brown addressed this team is the defensive side of things.
Well, there was another D word that came up a lot for the New York Knicks last year, and that was depth, Perk. This Knicks team, of course, it kept its core together, but they also added new bench pieces, and you have said that you wanted to see, particularly in the regular season, leaning a little bit more on the bench. So what else, Shams, needs to be done for this team before they start the season if they're going to have the long playoff run that Brian is saying that they're looking toward?
Yeah, Malika, the Knicks need to finalize multiple key positions on their bench, and that's two players, Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet. Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet both signed deals with the intent and the plan for them both to be on the roster on opening night and this regular season. Brogdon, I'm told he's expected to play a key bench role in the rotation. Landry Shamet's a guy you can kind of plug and play whenever you need a player on the wing to eat up some minutes as the season goes on. He's also well respected, but how do you do that? They have a lot of cap issues right now that they've got to work through. What does that mean? But both those players signed a deal. They're expected to be on this team.
When you talk about flexibility, I think of Bobby Marks, not because he can do the splits, but because he makes sure that we understand the financial flexibility. He is here with us now. Bobby, when we take a look at the Knicks depth chart here, Mike Brown has said he's not sure who the fifth starter is going to be. How are they going to utilize them?
Well, listen, when we look at the players that are underlined, this is the starting lineup from last year. The second most points per game since 1980. 86 and 87. They joined Denver last year. We talked about depth. Look at all this depth they went out. Certainly Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet. They bring back Miles McBride, and they signed Jordan Clarkson. I think there's some big questions here when we're looking at the Knicks offseason. I think there's 4 different things here. It's NBA Finals or bust when we're looking at it. I equate it almost to what Detroit did 20 years ago. Rick Carlisle out, Larry Brown in. They go out and win a championship. Who's the 5th starter? Yep. Is it going to be Josh Hart or certainly Mitchell Robinson? The revamped bench, last in minutes per game, and who is the odd man out in a trade? We're almost on the 1-year anniversary of the Karl Anthony Towns trade. It's not going to be as big, but New York does have to make a trade because of the second apron to keep Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet on this roster.
It's fascinating that even for a team that we talk about as 1 or 2 in the Eastern Conference, they still have this much left to address. Bobby, any splits for the road? No?
No,
we're not going to try that. All right,
my pants are a little tight today.
Then we will split to break. How about that? Coming up here on NBA Today, 100 players in NBA history to score at least 20 points a game over their first 5 NBA seasons. Among those players, Zion boasts the best field goal percentage, 59%. That's the good. The bad, of course, is since becoming the first overall pick, he's played in just 45% of the Pelicans' regular season games, and he's missed at least 60% of games in 4 of the last 6 seasons. So here's a look at the Pelicans' expecting starting lineup this season. This doesn't include DeJounte Murray because, remember, he's rehabbing from that Achilles injury that he suffered in January. The team held media day this afternoon, and Zion, he looks pretty good, and he spoke about some tough offseason conversations he had with his trainer.
Last year while I was rehabbing my hamstring, me and him sat down and we had a conversation. He was just like, Z, we need to figure this out. Like, when you come back from rehab, we want you to be better than before it happened, X, Y, Z. During that time frame last year, I really felt a shift in my body to where I would look at him and go, dude, it feels good to feel good. I haven't felt like this since college, high school, just where I can walk in the gym and I'm like, I feel good.
And that's what we want for Zion, for him to walk in the gym, feel good, and be the exciting player that we all know that he is when he's on the floor. Shams, you have your ear to the ground in these locker rooms. What are you hearing in terms of Zion's relationship, his commitment here with the Pelicans going into this new season?
Malika, it's ever evolving, and a lot of that is the relationship between Zion Williamson and Joe Dumars, the new head of basketball operations there. And Joe Dumars has made it clear publicly and privately that he's going to be holding Zion Williamson accountable this season. And that responsibility comes from leadership, being on time to things. Remember last season, he was suspended for 1 game for being late to a team plane.
Yeah, that's right.
That wasn't the only time Zion Williamson's ever been late. That has been a reoccurring thing for him at different points. But we know this, if he can clean that stuff up, clean up the leadership side, if he can stay healthy, from a difference-making perspective, Zion Williamson has all those qualities to be a real game changer for this team. If he's healthy and on the court, they have playoff expectations. The key is getting him healthy on the court, playing consistently.
And that's a good reminder. I'm sure there's a lot of us out there who forgot about that incident where he was suspended for being late to that team plane. And it sounds like something so little, but those little things add up. Brian, he looks good, though, and he's saying all the right things. What's your reaction hearing about this commitment that he has, talking with his trainer in this offseason? I
appreciate everything that he said. But, actions have to carry over words at this point. The reality is this. 99% of NBA players, forget about 99% of all basketball players, 99% of NBA players teams would have moved on from over this last 6 years. Because Zion Williamson is so immensely talented, the Pelicans stick with him as their hopeful franchise player. But what is being left unsaid, but is pretty clear with the actions of everybody, this is probably it. If he wants it to work in New Orleans, it's got to be now. It's got to show up in this season. And the thing about it is, defining success for the Pelicans is tough. They've got 4 different players, Malika, coming off surgery. This seems like it's a thing that always happens to them. It's happening again. They have 4 guys, including their lottery pick, Derek Queen. Yeah. They need Zion Williamson to do it now. And I'll tell you what. He's got almost $90 million over the next 2 seasons that are non-guaranteed. That's right. The Pelicans could cut him. In the apron era, that's something that they could do. And he would get another job, but he wouldn't make $90 million and he wouldn't be the franchise player. He's got a lot to play for this year.
Y'all do realize in this world today, we all just, at some point, just need to feel loved. right? That's what we need, some type of love at some point of our lives. This is where we're at right now. I feel like with the reset in the Pelicans organization,